So in this video, I'm gonna cover everything that you need to know to get started fly fishing, all in about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna start off with the essential gear. So fly fishing gear can definitely seem overwhelming, especially when you first walk into a fly shop. There's tons of gear everywhere, but in this video, I'm just gonna go over the basics, the main stuff that you need. So starting off with the fly rod and reel. So the main thing to know here is that fly rods and reels come in different sizes that they call weights. The bigger the number, the bigger the fish the rod or the reel is meant for. So for trout fishing, a safe bet is a 9-foot 5-weight. Super versatile. You can basically throw anything with it, and it's great for trout, great for bass as well. So the reel doesn't need to be fancy at all. Definitely do not spend too much money here. Its main job is simply to hold your line. Match the rod size to the reel. So if you get a 5-weight rod, get a 5-weight reel. So next is fly line, leader, and tippet. So the fly line is super important. Do not spend money on a fancy reel. If you're gonna spend extra money, make sure it's on good fly line. So start with a weight forward fly line. It'll say WF5F if you are getting a 5-weight rod. That stands for weight forward, 5-weight floating. So that is a standard floating fly line. So once again, do not skimp here, okay? Good fly line can make all of the difference. It'll make casting way easier and you'll get way less tangles. So on the end of the fly line, you're gonna attach a leader. You can buy these pre-looped, so they're super easy to attach to your fly line, okay? Typical is a 9-foot 5X. So the X is basically the diameter of the line. And with a leader, it's typically tapered, so it'll start big and it will end in the 5X. So rolling into tippet, you're going to add a piece of tippet to your leader whenever you use up some of your leader after cutting off some flies. They also come in X's. So you'll see the smaller the X, the larger the diameter. So a 0X is thick stuff. 7X, very thin. Good for wild trout and stuff like that. Okay, so next we have net, waders, boots, and pack. Unless you want to end up like this guy. Oh. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. You're going to need a net. Preferably a rubber net. They're easier on the fish and your hook will not get snagged. So for waders, skip the boot foots altogether. Go straight to stocking foot waders and pair that, as long as your regulations allow it, pair that with some felt bottom boots. It's a night and day difference in traction. It is crazy how much better it is on these slick rocks than rubber soles. So finally, you'll need a pack. Do you have to have it? No, you could just put stuff in your pockets, but trust me, you're gonna want a pack. So essentially there's 4 different styles of packs, and there's probably more than that, but you're gonna have a chest pack, you're gonna have a hip pack, a sling pack, and then a backpack. But you're gonna have to test this out in a river and find out what you like. Okay, so next up we have fly selection. So it's super easy to feel overwhelmed here when you first walk into a fly shop and see literally hundreds of different flies sitting there. So what we're gonna do though is just keep it super simple here. All of those flies that you see fall into 3 categories. Dry flies, those are the ones that float. Nymphs, those are the ones that sink, and streamers, those are the ones that dart around like little minnows. So I'm gonna pop up on screen right now a list of essential flies. Fill your box with these and you are set, I promise. Next is fly casting, and this is a huge topic. So honestly, I think too much emphasis is put on casting at first. Of course it's important, but it's rare that you're gonna be casting 50+ feet. So what you need to focus on really is accuracy, okay? So a 20-foot accurate cast is way better than chunking it 100 feet. So, but I can say this to get you started and help out with fly casting. A super common mistake that beginners make when learning how to cast is not understanding how to haul. So you need to use your left hand, your non-rod holding hand, to grab onto the fly line and give it a little tug to help load the rod. It's gonna provide some extra momentum for the line and just help get everything going. So just make sure to keep it smooth, no jerky motions. Stop at the 2 o'clock position in the back, wait for your rod to load, that is super important. Wait for your rod to load, and then begin your forward cast. Stop again at the 10 o'clock position, and then let your line furl out nicely. Okay, so last part, setting the hook and landing the fish. You know, I laugh because I think a lot of times this is overlooked. A lot of times new people like to focus on casting because it looks cool. You know, that's what fly fishing is all about. Those really cool looking long casts. But think about it this way. If you're out there and all you've done is focus on casting and you hook it to a trout, then what? What do you do then? What do you do with your rod? Do you have a net? Where is your net? How are you gonna grab your net? What are you gonna do with your rod once you've landed the trout? How do you unhook the trout? All of these questions will quickly come into play if you have hooked a trout and not thought about this. So the first thing you need to do is, as soon as your fly hits the water, pinch your line against your cork with your rod holding hand. So it might sound dumb, but a really helpful tip that somebody gave me a while back is look for an excuse to set the hook. Any indication that there is a bite, set the hook. You'll probably end up with trees this way, but that's okay. You'll learn how to get tangles out quicker that way. Okay, so next is actually landing the trout. So you've hooked into a trout, you're super excited, and now you need to land it. So what you're gonna start doing is stripping in line with your non-rod holding hand. I'm keeping the line pinched against my cork, and I'm pulling it through with my left hand. So try to keep the trout's head up, and as soon as it's about 1 to 2 rod lengths from you, make sure to be holding onto that line tightly with your rod hand. Lift your rod way up in the air, and at that same time, reach for your net and go to scoop the trout. So you're sort of dragging the trout to your net, and then you're scooping, and then there you go. Once it's in the net, that's basically it. I know this is super quick. Definitely not a comprehensive list. So if I left out anything really important, please feel free to help out the newcomers and leave a comment. So thank you for sticking around to the end. I really appreciate all the support. If you enjoyed this content, please leave it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll catch you next time. Bye. See you.